If there's one actor who completely fits the definition of cool to a T, it is most certainly Jack Nicholson. With eyes covered in sunglasses, a shark-like grin, and a speaking voice that can make a woman swoon, Jack Nicholson has left his mark as one of the most influential actors in motion picture history. He has 12 Academy Award nominations and 3 wins. 2 for Best Actor and 1 for Best Supporting Actor. Jack Nicholson is undoubtedly my all-time favorite actor in the modern age of cinema. Of the many films he's made, I had to whittle down my favorite performances down to 12. So, this is my top 12 favorite Jack Nicholson performances.
Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be la vie en rose.
Number 12. Terms of Endearment. Based on the novel by Larry McMurtry, it covers 30 years of the relationship between a mother, Aurora, played by Shirley MacLaine, and her daughter, played by Deborah Winger.
All she has to do is hold on until 10, and it's past 10. She's in pain. My daughter is in pain. Give her the shot. You understand me? You're going to behave. Give my daughter the shot.
The character who steals the whole movie is the retired astronaut, played by Nicholson.
Come on, everybody uses whatever they have. I earned it. It's 106 astronauts in the whole fucking world, and I'm one of them.
The film's writer and director, James L. Brooks, originally wrote the role for Burt Reynolds, but he had agreed to appear in Stroker Ace and had to turn it down. Paul Newman and Harrison Ford were also offered the role and both rejected it. Nicholson and MacLaine's scenes were mostly improvised.
You got me into this, and you're just gonna have to trust me about this one thing. You need a lot of drinks.
To break the ice.
To kill the bug that you have up your ass.
The film was the second most successful film at the box office after Return of the Jedi, and received 11 Academy Award nominations, winning 5, including Best Picture, Director, and Adapted Screenplay for James L. Brooks for this, his first film. And both Shirley MacLaine and Jack Nicholson would win Oscars for their performance as well.
I'll tell you, Aurora, I don't know what it is about you, but you do bring out the devil in me.
Number 11. 5 Easy Pieces. Written and directed by Bob Rafelson, 5 Easy Pieces tells the story of an oil rig worker, played by Nicholson, but what he really wants to be is a piano player. But when he learns that his father is dying, he leaves for Washington State and brings his girlfriend with him. The film features 2 great scenes with Nicholson, such as the scene in the diner, which was inspired by an incident that happened to Nicholson in a coffee shop.
I'd like an omelet, plain, and a chicken salad sandwich on wheat toast.
Anything else?
Yeah, now all you have to do is hold the chicken, bring me the toast, give me a check for the chicken salad sandwich, and you haven't broken any rules.
You want me to hold the chicken, huh?
I want you to hold it between your knees.
You see that sign, sir? Yes, you all have to leave. I'm not taking any more of your smartness and sarcasm.
You see this sign?
The other is this heartbreaking scene where he opens his heart to his dying father.
I don't know what to say. Tina suggested that we try to. I don't know. I think that she feels that we've got some understanding to reach.
According to production reports, Nicholson did not want to cry in the scene, Bob Rafelson, however, wanted him to cry in this scene. But rather than fight it out, Rafelson decided to shoot the scene and hope for the best. And the take that's in the film was shot, and they never shot it again. So it was only done in one take. Nicholson was awarded with his second Oscar nomination.
Well, we all line up like a goddamn bunch of ants, the most beautiful part of the day in Canada.
Number 10. Prizzi's Honor, based on the Richard Condon novel and directed by the legendary John Huston. Prizzi's Honor is the story of two mafia assassins played by Nicholson and Kathleen Turner, who, after falling in love with each other, are hired to kill each other. Nicholson was Huston's first choice to play the role of Charlie Partana, but originally he turned it down thinking it was too dark. He was told that the film was a comedy, and he asked, "It's a comedy?" He immediately accepted the part after rereading the script. Nicholson gained 30 pounds and speaks with a Brooklynese accent.
I read it in a magazine. According to a doctor, everyone's always trying to get what they thought they needed from their mothers, but they didn't get it.
The only motivation Huston gave to Nicholson before every take was simply, remember, he's stupid. 20th Century Fox had little to no support for this film and thought it would fail, that they released the film on video even when the film was still in theaters. Only through good reviews and positive word of mouth did it become a sleeper hit. It received 8 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director for Huston. Nicholson received a Best Actor nomination, but the only Oscar it got was for Huston's daughter and Nicholson's then-girlfriend Angelica for her seductive performance as Mayrose Prizzi.
You want to do it, Charlie? Is that what you want?
Whoa. Take it easy. What the hell, May?
Nobody took it slower than me, Charlie. 4 years. Answer the question. You want to do it?
Well, yeah.
So, let's do it.
Interesting thing was that while making this film, she overheard a production worker say, her father is the director, her boyfriend is the star, and she has no talent. Boy, does he feel stupid. Number 9. Hoffa. Written by David Mamet and directed and co-starring Danny DeVito, Hoffa is the story of the leader of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, James R. Hoffa.
Look at them up there, sitting on their fat asses, drinking coffee and eating donuts! Have you had enough of it? We're gonna demand that they recognize the Teamsters! We are gonna hold together in good order, and we are gonna get what we came down here for!
Nicholson was given the role of Hoffa after Kevin Spacey, Robert De Niro, and Al Pacino turned it down. Funny seeing that Al Pacino would end up playing Hoffa and get an Oscar nomination for it in Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. But Nicholson was able to really embody Hoffa thanks to a good deal of video research and a brilliant makeup job done by V. Neal.
The Justice Department has plenty on you, Mr. Hoffa.
You don't impress me, and your office don't impress me, and your family don't impress me. Bunch of rum runners. And I don't need $300 million, and my brother elected president to whop your fucking ass, you slimy little prick. Fuck you, and fuck your threats, and fuck your brother. What did you say? You heard me?
The film also has really beautiful cinematography by Stephen H. Burham, who had photographed a lot of films directed by Brian De Palma. It takes advantage of the widescreen format and only works if viewed in that format and not when it's panned and scanned for TV. Despite good reviews, the film failed at the box office. Nicholson received a Golden Globe and, hold on to your chairs folks, a Razzie for his performance in this film. How insulting is that?
I want you to kill a cocksucker! I want you to stuff his arms up his ass! That's what I fucking want!
I think he really holds his own playing Hoffa. Nicholson even said it's one of his favorite roles.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do, get the union back!
Yeah, what does that mean?
I'm gonna do what I gotta do!
Number 8. Chinatown. Directed by Polish director Roman Polanski, Chinatown is a film noir involving a tough, hard-nosed, gumshoe private detective, Jake J. Gittes, hired to expose an adulterous woman, played by Faye Dunaway, only to end up involved in a web of deceit, corruption, and murder.
Mrs. Mulray, I goddamn near lost my nose, and I like it. I like breathing through it. And I still think that you're hiding something.
Nicholson's role of Gittes really harkens back to those old 1940s actors such as Humphrey Bogart and John Garfield, in which he is determined to get to the truth by any means necessary.
I said I want the truth.
She's my sister. She's my daughter. My sister, my daughter.
I said I want the truth!
Plus, he has some really great lines of dialogue.
He says, hey, what's the matter with you? You're screwing just like a Chinaman.
The film's writer, Robert Towne, wrote the film in the hopes that it would be a trilogy of movies. A sequel was made in 1990 called The Two Jakes, in which Nicholson not only reprised his role, but also took over as the director as well. Unlike Chinatown, The Two Jakes was a huge failure, and plans for a third movie was ultimately abandoned. And Nicholson and Towne had major falling out, and haven't spoken to each other since.
Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
Number 7. The Witches of Eastwick. Based on the John Updike novel, it tells the story of 3 single women in a fictional New England town of Eastwick who envision the perfect man. Their wish ultimately comes true in the form of a flamboyant, seductive man named Daryl Van Horn. But little do they know, this man is the devil.
Of course, we make mistakes, they call it evil. When God makes mistakes, they call it nature.
Jack Nicholson as the devil is such a great idea, but originally the role was to be played by Bill Murray, but for some reason he dropped out and then in walks Jack Nicholson.
Who are you?
Just your average, horny little devil.
Not only does Jack Nicholson shine in this film, but also the 3 women, Cher, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Also the direction by George Mad Max Miller, and the spellbinding music by John Williams. Nicholson's role as the devil was just a warm-up for what would eventually become his most iconic performance of his entire career, which just so happens to be the next spot on my countdown.
Hocus pocus.
Number 6. Batman. Before Heath Ledger, before Joaquin Phoenix, there was Jack.
Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier.
In Batman, Jack Nicholson portrays gangster Jack Napier, who gets into a freak accident by falling into a vat of acid and emerging out as the clown prince of crime, the Joker.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Nicholson, unlike Michael Keaton, who was cast in the titular role of Batman, was a very popular choice to play the Joker. It was a casting coup that harkened back to when Marlon Brando played Superman's father Jor-El in Richard Donner's Superman. Nicholson's performance was enhanced by the magnificent makeup job done by British makeup artist Nick Dudman. But unlike Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix later on, not only did Nicholson not win the Academy Award, he wasn't even nominated. But still, Nicholson was given a percentage in the film's box office gross, merchandising, and future sequels. So in addition to a $6 million salary, Nicholson received $60 million just for playing the Joker. Not a bad deal.
It's as though we were made for each other. The beauty and the beast. Of course, if anyone else calls you beast, I'll rip their lungs out.
Number 5. The Departed. In the film that gave Martin Scorsese his long-overdue Oscar for Best Director, Nicholson portrays Frank Costello, an Irish mafia boss who plants an informant in the Boston Police Department, while also taking under his wing a young man who turns out to be an informer for the Boston Police Department.
When I was your age, they would say we could become cops or criminals. Today, what I'm saying is this. When you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference?
Al Pacino was Scorsese's first choice to play Costello, but he rejected the role. Nicholson was Scorsese's second choice, and surprisingly, he turned it down too. But after meeting with Scorsese, writer William Monahan, and star Leonardo DiCaprio, Nicholson finally agreed to do the role.
When I tell you to dump a body in the marsh, you dump them in the marsh. Not where some guy from John Hancock goes every Thursday to get a fucking blowjob. Don't laugh! This ain't reality TV!
Many of Nicholson's scenes were improvised in order to give the character an unpredictability, such as wearing a strap-on in a porno theater,
See anything you like, huh?
doing handfuls of cocaine with prostitutes,
There it is. Don't move till you're numb.
and even pulling a real gun on DiCaprio.
Got something you wanna ask me?
The combination of Nicholson and Scorsese only happens once in a lifetime, and I firmly believe that the inclusion of Nicholson was clearly responsible for half the success of this movie.
Heavy lies the crown.
Number 4. A Few Good Men. Based on the Aaron Sorkin stage play, A Few Good Men is the story of a court-martial of 2 United States Marines accused of the murder of a private and the tribulations involving the lawyers hired to defend them, played in the film by Demi Moore and Tom Cruise. In the film, Nicholson portrays the tough, hard-fisted Colonel Jessup.
You see, Danny, I can deal with the bullets and the bombs and the blood. I don't want money, and I don't want medals. What I do want is for you to stand there in that faggoty white uniform and with your Harvard mouth extend me some fucking courtesy.
James Woods auditioned for this part, but Nicholson had such a strong presence that even though he appears in only 4 scenes, his influence is felt throughout the whole film.
We go back a while. We went to the academy together. We were commissioned together. We did our tours in Vietnam together. But I've been promoted up through the chain with greater speed and success than you have. Now, if that's a source of tension or embarrassment for you, I don't give a shit. We're in the business of saving lives, Lieutenant Colonel Markinson. Don't ever question my orders in front of another officer.
The scene that, of course, everyone remembers is the interrogation scene in the military courtroom between him and Tom Cruise.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg?
Notice that Nicholson manages to keep himself completely in the center of the frame, even though he's ranting and raving about the importance of his duty to his office, only to end up being taken down by this young upstart.
Did you order the code red? I did the job. Did you order the code red? You're goddamn right I did!
Number 3. As good as it gets. Reuniting with Terms of Endearment writer and director James L. Brooks, Jack Nicholson plays Melvin Udall, an obsessive-compulsive romance novelist and just a downright unpleasant man.
How do you write women so well?
I think of a man, and I take away reason and accountability.
Initially offered to John Travolta, Melvin Udall fit Jack Nicholson like a hand in a surgeon's glove.
Help!
If you want to see me, you will not do this. You will make an appointment.
Dr. Green, how can you diagnose someone as an obsessive-compulsive disorder and then act as though I had some choice about barging in?
He manages to balance out the downright awfulness of the character while also making it somewhat relatable that you find it funny.
Love was...
Are you in there?
Son of a bitch! Pansy-ass stool pusher. Yes! Maybe this can wait.
Nicholson initially was scared that people would hate the movie because of how unpleasant Melvin came across.
Look, you. I'm very intelligent. If you're gonna give me hope, you gotta do better than you're doing. I mean, if you can't be at least mildly interesting, then shut the hell up. I mean, I'm drowning here, and you're describing the water.
Nicholson also shares a romantic chemistry with Helen Hunt as the waitress, who was a single mother with an ill son.
You make me want to be a better man.
That's maybe the best compliment of my life.
Well, maybe I overshot a little because I was aiming at just enough to keep you from walking out.
The film was such a success, and both Helen Hunt and Jack Nicholson were awarded with the Best Actress and Best Actor Oscar for their performance, her first and his third. It was also the second best grossing film of Nicholson's career after Batman.
Where do they teach you to talk like this? In some Panama City sailor want a hump bar? Or is this getaway day and your last shot at his whiskey? Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
Number 2. The Shining. In Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of Stephen King's novel, Jack Nicholson portrays Jack Torrance, a man hired to take care of a secluded hotel with a spooky history. But as his stay progresses, he loses his mind to the point where he ends up chasing his son with an axe.
You can't get away! I'm right behind you!
Nicholson was always on Kubrick's mind to work with, going back to when he was planning on an epic about Napoleon. But with The Shining, Kubrick had Jack Nicholson pegged for the role of Jack Torrance. Stephen King, however, wasn't pleased with this idea. His idea was that he wanted to see a normal-looking man slowly and surely to go insane, someone like Jon Voight. By casting Nicholson, who's already someone who looks crazy from the start, it wouldn't work in his view. Kubrick was also known to be quite a handful with his approach to directing, since he was such a perfectionist. Also, keep in mind, Nicholson hates cheese sandwiches, and Kubrick would feed him cheese sandwiches just to piss him off. For the scenes where he chops the door, they built fake doors, but Nicholson, who was a volunteer firefighter, knew how to handle an axe and chopped through each door easily. So the prop department had to build stronger doors. And Nicholson's iconic line,
Here's Johnny!
was an ad-lib. Nicholson's performance is very unsettling and just downright creepy. He's like a ticking time bomb, and you just don't know when he's gonna go off. And my number one favorite Jack Nicholson performance is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Based on the novel by Ken Kesey, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is about a criminal, Randall P. McMurphy, being sent to a mental institution where he becomes a rebel and a figure of nonconformity in the face of the other patients, who are frightened by the no-nonsense nurse, Mildred Ratchet. Kirk Douglas, who originated the part of McMurphy on the Broadway stage, held the rights to the story, but by the time the film was going to be made, he was much too old. Eventually, he sold the rights to his son, Michael, who ended up being the producer. A lot of actors make their first film appearance, such as Danny DeVito.
How are we going to win our money back?
Vincent Schiavelli.
What does that mean, Peculiar Harding?
Brad Dourif.
Aren't you ashamed?
No, I'm not.
And Christopher Lloyd.
Hit me.
Shut up!
But I think one of the most difficult scenes to watch is the scene where McMurphy undergoes the electroshock treatment. Nicholson really sells it and makes you believe that he's actually going through the procedure. Also worth mentioning is Louise Fletcher as Nurse Ratchet. I could punch this woman in the face. I hated her so much. She ruled that asylum with an iron fist, and the slightest change in her natural order of things, and she just resorts to methods that are just downright inhumane.
That music is for everyone, Mr. McMurphy.
Yeah, I know, but you think we might ease it down a little bit so maybe the boys didn't have to shout? Huh?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was such a success, it won the Oscar for Best Screenplay, Best Director, Best Picture, Best Actress for Fletcher, and Nicholson won his first Oscar for Best Actor after 4 previous nominations.
How about it, you creeps, you lunatics, mental defective? Let's hear it for Bull Goose Randall back in action. Nice shirt, Chesaroo. Look at the faces on you. Look at you. The Thieves Brigade, you ginglings. The Mental Defective League. In formation.
The last time a movie won the same categories was in 1934 for It Happened One Night, and it didn't happen again until The Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, come on, you're not gonna say that now. You're not gonna say that now. You're gonna pull that henhouse shit now when the vote the chief just voted it was 10-9. Now I want that television set turned on right now!
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a funny, heartbreaking, and uplifting film, and worthy of the Best Picture win, and undoubtedly Jack Nicholson's greatest performance. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, my number one favorite Jack Nicholson performance.